Hello, welcome back to Oracle DBA tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to discuss about Oracle SLAB processes. So, if you take an example, this is what we discussed in our last, very beginning of our videos when we discussed about Oracle processes. So, we discussed that there are three types of Oracle processes. One is server processes, that is your called dedicated server or shared server, dispatchers, and all those things as a part of your server processes. Then we discussed about background processes. Examples are log writer, DB writer, memory manager, pmon, smon, and so on. Okay. So now the last lecture is about the slab processes and what are the slab processes and why we need them, and then we are just going to give some examples and then wrap up our Oracle processes chapter. So essentially this is what is really happen, so for example, this is your buffer cache. So this is your buffer cache in the SGA, and then essentially what happens is that we are the DB writer background process is going to write to the data file. Okay, let's say this is your data file. So it's going to write to the data file. So as you know, when the checkpoint occurs, but dbwr is going to write from the buffer cache to the data file, and that is called checkpointing, or that is called flushing of buffer cache. Okay, so when you flush only on when checkpoint happens. So essentially what it does, it gives, DB writer collects these blocks. Okay, so collects this dirty buffer blocks and gives back to operating system. Okay, and then operating system is going to basically whatever you are doing f write in a C, right, whenever you do f write, so basically essentially you are giving the character or whatever you want to write to operating system, and operating system kernel is going to take care of the writing to the actual disk. All right, so that is called asynchronous IO or async IO. That means what we want to do, we want to give this dbwr, there are two works involved. One work is to collect these data buffers, and then the second one is to actual write. Actual write is not that important. Actual write can be done by your operating system. Okay, so in that case what we do, db writer just comes and then grabs this buffer dirty buffers and gives back to the operating system, and then this goes and then to collect the next setup of buffer. So that means dbwr is not going to be involved in the mundane work of writing to the data files. All right, so who does that? That is going to be done by operating system kernel. But if this is in case of this a hard drive, is fine. If this is a tape drive, okay, if it's a tape drive, that is when we want to write an RMAN backup and all those things. So in that case we cannot, operating system cannot write to a tape drive. So in that case what Oracle does, Oracle gives you additional slab processes. This slab processes is going to mimic the async IO that used to be done by operating system for a normal disk drive. Okay, so slabs, so DB writer slabs are nothing but some some process which is going to do a operating system write to the tape drive or to the drives where operating system cannot write. In those cases we are going to use database writer slab processes. Okay, so that is the one of the slab processes, and the second slab processes is comes from the Oracle parallel server. Okay, so let's say for example, basically before so starting from Oracle 7.1.x6. okay, some Oracle 7.1.6, Oracle introduces a new type of query that is called parallel query. That means if I want to select from a big table, then whatever the execution plan is going to be created, that execution plan is going to be subdivided into multiple unit subunit program which can be run independently. So essentially, like so with this parallel query option, your plan, the main plan is this is the plan, main plan. The main plan is going to divide it into multiple sub plans. Okay, and then the process which is going to create this main plan, all these things, this is called the coordinator. Okay, so this is called the plan coordinator. Whereas this sub plans is going to be given by, so for example, in this case, your dedicated server is the plan coordinator. And what is going to happen is going to dedicated server is then going to give these sub plans, small plans, to the other processes, which is called parallel query execution server processes. Okay, that is called parallel query execution servers. Okay, so in this case maybe we have 4 parallel query execution processes. So therefore dedicated server is going to give the small plan to this parallel query execution servers. They are going to execute the query. That means they are going to go to the database data files and find the data, and then they will give back to the plan coordinator. In this case, this is the dedicated server process, and he is going to dedicated server process is going to compile, combine, and integrate those data, and then return to the requester who has requested this parallel query. So this is a feature that is going starting from 7.1.x, and this is something equivalent to something a very, I don't really know the real comparison, but whatever you are doing nowadays, map reduce or distributed computing and all those things. So this is something similar to the map reduce that is started way back in 2003. Okay, so that is what Oracle's approach to parallel query. And this is a slave process. This slave process works for the dedicated server. So this is in accordance to what we discussed. Slave process are the processes which either work for a server process or a background process. In case of in the writer, uh, you know the number one that we discussed, so in that case it worked for the DB writer, which is a background process. In this case, second example that we discussed in parallel query, this is working for a server process, which is dedicated server. So with this we cover all these videos about server processes, and also with this we cover everything that you know about Oracle architecture. So essentially what we have done so far, so this is the recap. So we say that Oracle server consists of 2 parts. One is called instance, and second one is data files, or popularly known as database. And this whole things together called Oracle database server. And Oracle database server is consist of 2 things, and then we discussed that in turn instance is going to be consist of 2 parts, that is your memory structure, that is your SGA, system global area, and then a lot of background processes. Okay, a lot of background processes. And then we also discussed that data file consists of multiple different types of file, like for example one of them is parameter file, database file, log file, and so on. And also we discussed that SGA is also again consist of different pools, and we just also discussed what pools does what, like what what are the different roles, responsibility of those pools, and also we discuss about responsibility of background processes. And I hope with this, the first chapter of our Oracle DBA, sorry, the first module of our Oracle DBA, which is about the Oracle architecture, is somehow be clear. And if it's not clear, maybe it's my, maybe something's wrong with me or something's wrong with you. What I would like to do, you should read in a sequential order. That means we do that SCPT, that is how we put in YouTube. So you start with SCPT1 and then you go on increasing that way, so that basically, if you just go directly to SCPT10, then you may not understand what we are talking about. So just build based on the playlist, and then also in our website, whenever we are putting those things, we are putting them in a particular order. So try to read them, try to understand them in order, and we will put lot of exercises, lot of quizzes and all these things that will basically make you, that will test you, as give an assessment if you understood or not. And again, please give us feedback in our forums, so which is available in our website, and then send us mail or send us messages on YouTube or whatever. So try to reach out and then see, like, what is wrong in this tutorial, so that we can modify, we can rectify those things, so that we can make a really good list of Oracle server or whatever we are doing the videos. Thank you very much.